Hi and welcome to my newest video, view from Fall River Road. I'm George Coll here in Loveland, Colorado. And you on YouTube, enjoy this free video. It's about 30 minutes long and I do a block-in for a 3-part series. And you can, if you like part 1 and you like the reference, I also have part 2 and 3 coming later this week. So, migrate over there to Uscreen. It is a paid platform, $10 a month, start and stop anytime. I have 100 of my very best videos over there, so give it a look-see and hope you join in to the painting process. I'm always putting up new work every week. All right. Thanks for coming by and take a look at Uscreen. All right. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to part 1 of a brand new 3-part series. We're up the Fall River Road, and this was really early in the morning, so the sun is coming up over my shoulder and I am looking west, and I just like this background warm light and this bold dark in front with all these fallen trees. So I think it's going to make a really good composition. That's why I chose it. From the overhead you can see I have my palette laid out here, which is basically a red, blue, and yellow. So those are the main mixing colors, along with some of these guys that are, can make variations of all these colors. One is a warm mixer, which is a Naples. Then I have a cold gray here for cold mixtures, and I have a burnt sienna. You can see I use various brands here. I'm using a Gamblin, I'm using a crimson, a Holbein, a Gamblin, a Rembrandt, Gamblin, and a Holbein. And this is down here is my titanium white, and I don't spend a lot of money on it. I usually look for cheap ones. Titanium white mostly, pretty much standard stuff. So with that, those are my basics. I'm going to move those over here to the side and get ready to get started on a block-in. Part 1 of a 3-part series is block-in, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to use probably these brushes here and probably a small one for some drawing to get started right here. So I'm using it looks like a 10 and a 6 and looks like a 2. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go to some burnt sienna, some ultra blue, and some white. Just making a gray blue. And as you see, I really try to mix things so they're thoroughly mixed. So I'm going to get my number 2 and try to figure out where some basic stuff is. And this is kind of the droop of the mountain back there, the warm mountain. And then I think the base of the tree should be somewhere in here. I think some come forward here and some go back in here, and so I think basically the trees kind of start up here. I know we have tall trees, but you see how it dips in here and then it kind of is lost here. We have a little light in here. So this is going to all be dark stuff in here, but then also we're going to have some placement of trees. So I'm going to put maybe one here, and then one here. And little guys here, here, and kind of a tilting fella here over in the center area. Here, I like that, just tilting trees. And then some big ones again here. Boom, and boom. Okay. going to have a bunch of down trees over here in the center, so let's go to a different brush now. So what I want to do now is make some mixtures. Let me see what I can do here. I really think with this warm color in the back, I'm going to use some yellow, cad yellow deep. Cad yellow medium will do it too. So let's get some of that. Mix just a little gray in it. See, I'm just mixing it off to the side here. And now I'm going to, in the center area, I'm just going to mix a little bit of white into it. And I know you see green back there and all kinds of colors, but for now I'm just going to put in this stuff right here. Let me see what I can do about getting this a little thicker in this area up in here. All right. I'm going to save the gray. I think I got a little bit of it left over, but the orange I have, the cad yellow deep U here it's too thin to keep. Just not much of it left. All right, so let's make a darker mixture of blue, burnt sienna, a little bit of yellow. Got to go back to a little bit of blue in here. And I better make a lot of it because I need a lot of it. Again, that was blue, burnt sienna, and a touch of yellow. And I'm just going to get number 10 out here with just a touch of terp. Basically, it's almost dry. I didn't make enough of this product, that's for sure. Darn it. I got to go back to the drawing boards, folks. Sorry about that. Let's get some blue, some burnt sienna, and a little bit of yellow. Okay, now we're talking, we got some product out here. And aren't you glad you're putting this stuff thin, because we got to paint over it. I'm adding just a little bit of terp to get some mileage out of this mixture. This is how you ruin your brushes, is the way I paint. Jeez. I should buy stock in these brushes and Rosemary's or something. But you can make pine trees pretty quick with this. All right, I need a crooked tree in here too, I guess. And I need some lighter trees down here. And let me get back and see how this is looking. Okay, let's see what happens when I thin this down a little bit.
Good. Good stuff. Okay. Now for the foreground, I'm going to put some darks in here, but not all the way. There's some warms in front. So what I'm going to do, see how dry that brush stroke was? You can see some canvas coming through. So it's lighter down here than the trees up above. It's not such a heavy application. So let's get some gray into this mixture and some warm. And I'm going to get some of that cad yellow medium in there. Oh boy, I need a lot more mixture. So let's go back to gray. Let's add some blue to it. And now some Naples. And now some more Naples. And a little bit of red alizarin. I'm sorry, this is Crimson Lake, so I sometimes use both. Today I'm using Crimson Lake, and you can see I went to red. Went back to blue and warmed it up with Naples. And now I think we have a great mixture for the foreground. I sure made a lot of it too, so I'm sure I have enough now. So with that, let's thoroughly cover this brush up. Oh, I need more Naples to it. A little bit more of cad yellow, deep hue, Naples. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That is what we're looking for. Let's see if there's anything left from this mixture. Just a little bit, so I'll take it off and clean up for the next mixture. Now, if you have a clean brush for the next mixture, it might be really advantageous because we want to get up into the sky. And for that, why don't we just make some. That's Crimson Lake, that's not Viridian. I need some Viridian. Hang on. I thought I had Viridian out. You don't need much. My good friend Ralph says, well, you can make cerulean from ultra blue and Viridian, and that's true. But for now, we are going to just use a Viridian and a lot of white. And we can do other stuff later. Too much on here. I want to keep it thin because we're going to work on top of it tomorrow. It gets a little tacky, a little dry on the second day, but it'll still influence what's on top. And I'm just trying as quickly as possible to fill in these areas between the trees now and not contaminate the surrounding area with picking up some contamination from those trees. Let me try some of this down on the orange. I think I'll just do some of that down here too. All right. And to smooth that out, let me just keep it thin. And by doing a vertical stroke, I can keep the, see if I go in this way it'll contaminate. So I'm just doing these vertical guys here. And smashing it in if you want to. All right, so that kept everything nice and thin. Well, what I want to do next is figure out a way to put those down trees in there. So let's experiment with a couple ways to do that. While I take my sip of my coffee here. And let's see if we can do a simple way first, okay? So let's get a, it looks like a 6 or something. I've got a 6 with a pretty good edge on it. It's not the best, cleanest brush I had, but I'm trying to get the sky color out of it. And I've got a little bit of turp on here, and let's see what happens. Didn't do it. We might have to go to phase 2 of this. I'm just determined enough to give this a try and going to do it. Let me try a bigger brush then. So let me try this guy. So I've got some turp on the end of this thing, and I'm just making designs of where these big old trees, these down trees are going to be. What happens up there on the Fall River Road, the winds knock down these trees sometimes. It gets so strong up there. Because basically these trees are growing on top of rocks. And then I'm going to show you a different method after this. At least this will kind of show me where things are. And I can kind of get a guide from that. And I think I need a bank here. So I'm going to try to pick some of this stuff up right in here. Oh boy, this is going to get tedious here after a while, but you can see the results quickly. And I dip my brush into the turp pretty regularly. And now we're starting to get this feeling of a little basin here. Probably keep getting my chin in front of the camera here for the U screeners. And this gives you at least an indication of where everything's going to be. I don't know if I'm as accurate as I should be. But I think I'm giving at least the indication that there's a dip here. All right, if that doesn't work for you, let's go to a plan B, okay? So let's go back to our sharper brush and throw some gray on top of your sky color and a little bit of ultra blue. Blue and gray on top of the sky color. And you can also come in with these. Boy, it takes a steady hand here in the morning to do this. Now we have to get darks underneath these trees too, but right now we are just really concentrating on getting these fellas in. And now my brush is still doing a pretty good job, but it's really getting flared out. I got a little bit too much blue in that mixture, so I added some more gray and some more sky color. Got to get a new rag that's getting kind of gooped up. And here we go again. And you need fat logs and thin logs. You need a lot of logs. And as Jan and I were talking earlier, we got to get branches on here too, but that's probably not today. That's more in the detail phase. All right, let's get back and take a look and see how this is coming along. When I get back, I realize these have to be even lighter. So I'm going to get some more white in here and even lighten up maybe the foreground guys more. And I'm loading up a lot of paint. And I don't know which log is on top or not. It doesn't seem to be too big of an issue right now. Just trying to get the right value and shape in is the important thing for now. Now, the third way to do this is with your knife, but it's going to be pretty thin. So I'm using a T7, and you can fill up the bottom of your brush and have a good edge load up on one edge and go on the top of your guy. And if you want it fatter, just make it, flatten it more onto the canvas, the knife. Like, see how flat it is? Or if you want an edge, then more of an angle and only one edge is touching the canvas. And I'm about out of product. Okay, now when I get back, you can see, or I can see, that it really does look like down timber. Now, let's get into the timber again and do some work. Let's go back to blue and whatever slop we had left over from earlier in the foreground. So we go blue and throw some burnt sienna in there and a little viridian. It's dark stuff. If you want to, throw some red in there. You can see in here there's some really serious darks. And I'm searching out these cracks between the logs or below the logs and putting in some darks. And if your log is too thick, you can thin it down with your dark, like I did right there. Yeah, back here it's really dark. Oh, I'm losing some of my logs. So put in more logs than you need. You'll probably destroy some of them in this step. But get some darks under there. Even if you're losing some of your log, we can reestablish them later. Wish I had a sharper brush. Let me see if I can get this sharper guy into the corners here. Using some blue, burnt sienna, Meridian, red. Let's see if I can get a sharp edge on there. See how I did that with my paper towel. Try to sharpen that edge. And this is my number 6 I'm using. 6 flat. It's not that I don't use filberts. I love filberts. I used to just use flats all the time, but as I've gotten more mature in my painting experience, filberts have a real good place in the toolbox. All right, so let's see. Now, I have just a little bit of that foreground stuff left over, and so I'm going to get some of that with some Naples and some orange, or I'm sorry, with cad yellow. And I need some red in that mixture. Added some alizarin, or this is Crimson Lake. A little bit more gray. And you can lighten up the foreground. Excuse me, I lost my image, and we will get it right back when I do that. I'm working off a computer screen right here. To the side, the image the U-screeners see and the YouTubers that I have for part 1 is a picture, actually, that I take and then I stretch it out for the whole taping. All right, I overdid it. I have to go back and put in some more darks. Sorry. Okay, and I need just some ploppy darks here. I don't know what these are, bushes or something. I took this image in September. This was the famous one where I came up before sunrise and there was a herd of elk. And they got off the road, except I wondered what this thing was up in front. It looked like a big mound of dirt. And as I got closer, it was a bull elk. And he just said, look, this is my space. I'm not going to move. So I stopped, and he came to me. And then then as soon as he got in front of the car, or I mean the van, he went off to the side, to the driver's side, and kind of looked at me as he walked by, like he is the head guy, not me. Okay. I think that is block-in. Why I mean block-in, we made some shapes and then we put some value colors in there. And we spent a little time doing some detail up in front, so we're kind of getting into our second phase here. But tomorrow we are going to balance this, work on trees more. I think get some more blues up here in the sky, and calm down some of these oranges that are a little too strong right now. So with that, I'm going to bring part 1 of the view from the Trail Ridge Road to an end. And I want to thank you very much, YouTubers and U-Screens, for coming by. All right, thanks very much. Bye-bye.